So you're designing a new property and you don't know where to start. Here is my suggestion to you. Start with a color palette. What's a color palette? Well, a color palette is a grouping of colors that combined together create an overall theme for your property or design project of any way, shape, or form. Whether it's a logo, a t-shirt design, an interior design, or a freaking mural. A color palette is a great place to start. And if you know nothing about color palettes, I'm gonna teach you how to create one in 3 easy steps in this video. So don't worry, just sit back and watch. All right, so the step 1 of creating a wonderful color palette. The best thing I like to do is I like to think about the energy of the space and the space around what I am designing for, particularly for interiors. So if you're designing for an interior, I want you to go outside and I want you to think about the environment of the space. Maybe you're somewhere in the woods, maybe you're in the mountains, maybe you're at the beach, maybe you're in the suburbs or in the city. That's okay. I want you to take a few pictures of the surroundings of your environment and of the property from the outside, okay? And then I want you to take those pictures and I want you to upload them into Canva. Canva is a free program. It just lets you make easy designs. Once you're in Canva, take those pictures and I want you to color pull, I want you to color match. One of the great things about Canva is actually kind of creates palettes based on your pictures, so you can kind of pull from those colors. I want you to start thinking about what colors you're seeing. Maybe you're seeing the blue sky, or maybe it's a gray sky. Depends on the day you're out there. Maybe you're seeing the green grass, maybe brown woodsy vibes or gray color tones. Maybe there's some exotic plants in the area and you can pull those. I don't want you to only use these colors, but I want these to be a basis for you to understand how an environment affects the interior design. It's totally fine to have really fun pops of color in any house, and I definitely want you to do that. But I think what's important is that we're making sure we know where our basis stands. So once you've chosen a few colors and you're starting to realize the main themes that are coming out of your natural environment, now we're gonna go to step 2. So step 2, I want you to think about those colors you just pulled, okay? And I want you to fixate on one. Maybe it's a brown tone, maybe it's a gray tone, maybe it's a blue, green, orange, whatever it might be. I want you to fixate on one color and I want you to go to my favorite other free software, which is called Pinterest. Pinterest is a mega world where all of this informational, inspirational, wonderful content lives. All you have to do is search for it. So once you're on there, I want you to do this very simple search. Once you take that one color, maybe it's a dark brown, maybe it's a light green, whatever you choose, I want you to be kind of specific. Don't just say orange. Like, is it a earthy orange? Is it a peachy orange? Is it a dark orange, burnt orange, something like that? Choose 2 words at least that describe the color. Then I want you to say the environment you're in. So maybe you're in the suburbs or interior, simple interior, or maybe you're in the woods, or maybe you're in a mountainous region, or maybe it's beachy. So once you take those 2 colors, burnt orange, city, color palette, and color palette is the last part of the search. So once you have that search in there, you're going to get this whole world of potential color palettes that are going to be really exciting to you. I want you to go through and I want you to make a new board called Blank Property Inspiration Board. Start pinning some of the color palettes that really speak to you. So the important thing here is that we're not choosing a color palette, we're just gaining even more inspiration. Remember to go back to that original process we did with the pictures inside and outside of your house. Make sure it's at least going cohesively with those same natural environments. And that brings us to step 3. Okay, this is where we actually get to build the color palette of your property. It's not that difficult. You really only need 3 core colors. You can have a color palette with way more than that, but in this video, we're just gonna cover 3. So, number 1, you need a base neutral, okay? This is super important. Most of the time, the base neutral is going to be a shade of white. Now, that is what's popular right now. It could definitely change in the future. And maybe you're going for a really fashion-forward color palette. Maybe your base neutral will actually be a darker color. That's totally okay if it is. I'm just gonna use white in this example because it's probably the easiest and most used. So, what kind of white are we choosing? We're not choosing bare, ultra pure white, stark white, sterile white. That is not a world that we're gonna live in, okay guys? Way too bright for your eyes. It doesn't give you a feeling of welcoming. So I would definitely steer you away from choosing the whitest of whites. In painting class in college, we were taught that true white only lives in the reflections of the sun. And if that's the case, you don't want your house to be a reflection of the sun. So I suggest going with a slightly off-white neutral white. Some of my favorite whites for you to totally go and try yourself are Blank Canvas by Behr, Alabaster if you're looking for a warmer white, and White Dove if you're looking for a cooler white. Right now, warmer colors are a little bit more popular since we just went through this huge stage of gray in the past, cool gray. I think there's gonna be a huge wave of more warm grays going forward. One of my favorite types of colors like that is called grayish. It's a very warm gray. So that could also be a little bit more intense of a base neutral. So you could consider doing something like that as well. So we've got our base neutral. The next color we're gonna figure out is our contrasting neutral, okay? So this kind of sounds like, didn't we just choose a neutral? Yes, but this is going to be a neutral that really plays on the contrast from the original. So if we choose a white, this is our opportunity to go with something dark or even something mid-tone, okay? So this is a generally mid to dark tone neutral color. That can be a whole realm of opportunity, right? Because it doesn't necessarily mean neutral means bland. It could be a navy, navy's neutral. It could be a dark green, forest green, that could be neutral. It could be a brown, a black, a dark gray. Any of those colors, a grayish even if you chose a white. Those are all opportunities for you to contrast on the original base color. So it's important that maybe you go back to those color palettes and you start scoping out some of those different colors, put it in Canva and create some rectangles, okay? I want you to start seeing which neutrals go with the base colors you're kind of considering. Which neutral contrast colors are gonna go with those base colors that you pulled at the beginning. So you might wanna really push your palette here. This might be an opportunity to do a really bold accent wall color and something like that, but not necessarily super bright and colorful, but instead super dark, moody, and contrasting against that base color. Okay, and that brings us to the last of the core color palette, and that is going to be your pop, okay? This is such an important color. Yes, it's contrasting, but it's personality, okay? It can live in a lot of different worlds. It could be an accent pillow, it could be a couch, it could be a rug, it could be an accent wall. This is the color that's going to complete the dynamic three-stage color palette we're talking about. And yes, you can build out from here. It doesn't have to stop at 3. A 5-ring color palette is another great opportunity for you to push that color palette even more. But for this third color, we are looking for that pizzazz point, okay? So maybe you chose a white and maybe you chose a dark umber brown for your neutral and for your contrasting neutral. Maybe it's an opportunity to push a really deep emerald green, or maybe it's an opportunity to go with a burnt orange. Maybe you chose navy as your secondary color and a light blue as your neutral color. Then maybe it's an opportunity to go mustard yellow. I want you to think about what the color palette ring. A lot of times the best pop of color is the opposite of our neutrals. So if you chose like more earthy greens for your neutral colors, then look at the orange spectrum. It's the exact opposite. Could that work with you? Could you go a little bit to the left or the right of the orange? Maybe you look yellow, maybe you look red. There's a lot of opportunity to be creative here. And go back to those original Pinterest color palettes you had saved. Maybe there was a really great opportunity that you found there. Once you've thought about those 3 colors, okay, put them in a singular Canva board, find them as hex codes, and then go to Home Depot. Print that out, go to Home Depot, or go to any hardware store and start pulling actual paint swatches, okay? This is the fun part. This is where you get to pull them out. You don't have to pay for this. You just go and you just get to pull paint swatch colors, and it's so much fun. And you get to lay them out, seeing which one goes with which, and then ultimately buy some samples and try them on your wall. That is a really simplified version of how to create a color palette, and there are a lot of other things that do play a part in it, like finishes of your cabinets, of your flooring, of the various different appliances in your property, and your existing furniture, so keep those in mind. But if you're starting from scratch, I like to do it this way. So I hope that was helpful, and I know it can be overwhelming, so if you have any questions, please put them down in the comments, but ultimately I want to give you value as to how to make your space more beautiful. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm new here and only have like 20 followers, so it would be fun to have you.